Good evening, Bahamas. I'm Christina McNeil, and this is NB12 for Thursday, April 12, 2012, broadcasting from the Cable 12 studios on Robinson Road. In news tonight, a gruesome scene as a woman's naked body was discovered on Purpall Tract. Stephen Dye Stubbs and 12 co-defendants face drug charges, a milestone in the development of the Baha Mar Resort. Customs and immigration workers continue their fight for rights, and a new airline touches down on Abaco. We have those stories and much more coming up tonight. Your NB12 starts right now. Joining us. Blood-curdling screams from family members of the young woman found murdered this morning drew the attention of dozens of motorists on West Bay Street. And it was an unusually gruesome scene as the woman's naked body was found lying underneath a truck parked next to an abandoned building. Jasmine Bonamy was on the scene and filed this report on the nation's 35th murder for the year.
Police investigators scoured the scene this morning just off Purpall Tract, gathering any piece of evidence that they could find. Emotional family members showed up around 10 this morning, their sobs alerting everyone to their arrival. But before they could get beyond the yellow crime scene tape, police who tried to console the women quickly cut them off. While the victim's identity was not released by police, NB12 understands that she was the mother of a 5-month-old infant. According to Inspector Chrislyn Skippings, the woman, who is believed to be in her 20s, was found around 7:15 a.m. A utility worker in the area reportedly made the discovery on that lot in Purpall Tract.
Police received information that a body was found in an open area just off Purpall Tract. Police responded and discovered the body of a female with injuries to the upper body, partially beneath a truck.
Her naked body was found face down in the grass. The young mother's lower body was underneath the driver's side of the late model red Dodge Ram 1500. There appeared to be injuries to the woman's face. Police did not reveal what caused the injuries to the victim's upper body, but a bloody rock found at the scene was collected by crime scene investigators. Blood was also visible on the passenger seat of the truck. When asked if police had any idea of the motive behind the crime, Superintendent Stephen Dean said police are exploring all options and need the public's help.
We don't know. We're in the preliminary stages, and we don't want to draw no conclusive presumptions as to what is happening. But as soon as our investigations already looked at the scene, we'll be able to determine which direction we should go to, whether we can associate this with a direct domestic violence or whether it's a direct take on the person. We don't know exactly what it is at the moment.
At present, we are uncertain of the circumstances surrounding this particular incident. And as usual, we are going to make our appeal to the public.
Morning joggers who in the area say they didn't notice the large red truck during their routine jogs at the crack of dawn today. Area resident Anthony Petit, whose apartment directly faces the crime scene, says he was up until 3 a.m. But he says he didn't notice anything out of the ordinary in the usually quiet neighborhood.
This is quite shocking to me because my home window looks out into this area. Just the night before, I was up all night observing the signs being put up, so this is like very close.
And the scene also drew the attention of other neighbors, some of whom clambered on their rooftops to glimpse the gruesome scene. This is the third murder to occur in the area in the matter of weeks. On April 3rd, a man was gunned down on St. Albans Drive, and on April 1st, a man was shot to death at Luna nightclub. And as police head into their investigations, they say they will do whatever they can to identify this woman and solve the crime. Reporting for NB12, I'm Jasmine Bonamy.
Meanwhile, police are still investigating a shooting incident that left 25-year-old Darren Carroll dead. According to police, Carroll of Tufu Close off East Street was at Major Road in Yellow Elder Gardens when he and another 25-year-old man were shot late Wednesday night by 2 other men. The other 25-year-old is detained in stable condition. Police are again asking anyone with information into this shooting incident to contact Crime Stoppers or the nearest police station. And a heavy police detail escorted 37-year-old Stephen Dye Stubbs and 12 co-defendants to the Magistrates Court complex on South Street today to answer to drug-related charges. Stubbs and his co-defendants were led to court number 5, where Deputy Chief Magistrate Carolita Bethel read the charges: conspiracy to possess and the possession of dangerous drugs with the intent to supply. Meanwhile, 12 of the defendants were charged with a third count, vagrancy, when they were found in the yard of Cordero Roberts at Strawn's Alley after police arrived with a search warrant. Police say a man was seen taking something up from the ground and throwing it into a shack on the property. That was later found to be a plastic bag containing suspected marijuana. Police say a separate container of suspected marijuana was also found on the premises, totaling 8.4 ounces, before police arrested all 13 defendants. Today in court, 26-year-old Alvin Dumont pleaded guilty with explanation to the first 2 counts of conspiracy and possession of dangerous drugs with the intent to supply. All other defendants pleaded not guilty to all 3 counts. Today, Dumont told the court that he was the only one who knew of the drugs, and they were for his personal consumption and distribution. Bethel explained that the minimum sentence for drugs is 4 years, as she accepted his guilty plea to the second charge of possession. Prosecutor Ursula Dorset dropped the remaining 2 charges for Dumont, who begins serving his 4-year sentence today. Meanwhile, the prosecution noted that it intends to proceed with the case against the remaining 12 defendants, including Stubbs, who has previous drug-related charges. The men, with the exception of Dumont, will return to court on April 19th for report. Bail was denied and the 12 were remanded until then. In other news, 14 months in, the $2.6 billion Baha Mar project is said to be progressing quite well. Today, the developer finished piling for the last of its 4 new hotel structures. It may not sound like much, but it's actually a critical part of the major project. NB12 witnessed the significant milestone. Fonique Toot reports.
To the average person, this may sound like just a noisy drilling machine, but to officials at Baha Mar, it's the sound of progress. The developer marked a major milestone today, the completion of piling, which is essentially the deep foundations underneath what's expected to be quite impressive hotel structures. That's the 1,000-room casino hotel, 700-room Grand Hyatt Hotel, 200-room Rosewood, and 300-room Mondrian. This $12.8 million process started last year with the casino hotel. 5,500 piles later, the last of the deep piles were put in for the Mondrian.
It takes about 15 minutes to drill a hole 30 feet into the ground. After that's complete, these pile cages are then inserted into that hole. This sets the foundation for the superstructure.
This is the first step. This basically gives us our foundation to sit on, and then up from that comes what you'll see behind us is a 17-story hotel.
And when does that aspect begin? That above the groundwork, I guess you could say?
That'll flow right behind. The critical path for the project comes through the casino hotel that's over behind us, and that'll come over here, and that's the tallest building we have at 26 stories. And then that flows right through to the next series that you see the foundations coming out of the ground behind us here, and that is the Hyatt Hotel. And from there, they'll come over and do the Rosewood that's to my back left and end up over here on the Mondrian to my back right.
Protective eyewear, vest, and hard hat are worn for safety purposes on the site. Once piling was complete, China State Construction honored a cultural tradition, lowering a gold coin into the last hole for good luck. Those structures are being built on the site where the police station and the building housing the Prime Minister's office and Scotiabank stood just months ago. Of the nearly 1,000 people currently working on Baha Mar's construction site, officials say only about 350 of them are Chinese nationals. Baha Mar's Executive Vice President of Development and Construction, Tom Dunlap, told NB12 that about 1,500 Bahamians have worked on the project during the first 14 months.
And today we're probably over 750 site management and workers, and probably another 100 in our overhead and support groups. So we're approaching 1,000 workers just on site right now. Most of the labor you see up in the towers, the concrete The concrete contractor is a China state contract, and so a lot of their labor has come in from China, where they had worked together as teams in the past. One of the secrets to our productivity is bringing a group of men and women together that have worked together on similar types of buildings and able to apply that same skill here.
Before the $2.6 billion project got underway, many Bahamians expressed concern about the Chinese labor component. However, Dunlap says it allows for an exchange of expertise between global and local companies.
Whenever we see an opportunity and the skill set within a local Bahamian company, we reach out to that company to find a role for them on the project. We give them opportunities to competitively bid all the time, and we've been thus far in those first 14 months very successful. Great companies have been able to mobilize, and in the case of the piling, why we're here today, was a very creative joint venture between a Bahamian company and a global piling concern. So we brought the best of both worlds together. You'll see a lot more of that as the next 33 months unfold, where we try to bring the best of the local resources and the knowledge of international resources together.
The majority of those Chinese workers we've heard so much about will be joining the Baha Mar team in the next 10 to 12 months. Reporting for NB12, I'm Monique Tude.